would say that early childhood is professionally and personally important to me for a number of reasons, but I wanted to start by sharing with you a personal story about two little girls growing up in rural Mississippi. Grew up on a timber farm and cattle farm right outside of Carthage, and we say Carthage is where we're from because that's the only way you know where we were from. It was that rural. And I guess when we were infants, our parents were teachers, they both worked, and there was a lady at our church, a mother at our church who took care of babies, and her name was Mrs. Luella Campbell. But can you imagine a 2- or 3-year-old trying to say that name? We just turned it into one name and called her Miss Luella. And that's what we called her until the day that she passed away. She was very special to us. So she took care of us as infants and as toddlers. And as we grew up and grew older, we actually wanted to go to little school, is what we called it. My grandparents had a little country store in the Head Start Center, named for my Aunt Winston Hudson, was right next door to the store. And because we couldn't go to little school because our parents were teachers, they made too much to qualify for Head Start. So we would go to the store, and when the children from Head Start would come out, we'd play. So we did that back and forth for a couple of days. Finally, the teachers from Head Start came over and invited us to volunteer. And so we became the earliest, the youngest Head Start volunteers I think that there ever were. We were able to go inside and go to little school. But I tell you that story because I think that that played a major role in my development, in loving what it is that I do. In this current role, I'm not able to be an advocate as much as I used to be by virtue of the role that I'm in now. But that's how it all got started. That was my love for early childhood education and advocacy. And fast forward to my work with Children's Defense Fund, with the Southern Rural Regional Office under the leadership of Olita Fitzgerald, and working with people like Carol Burnett, and the list goes on, Kathy Grace, Eleanor Littleton, I could go on and on. Those women have really given a lot to early childhood in the state of Mississippi, and I'm just happy to be a part of that. So something else that has become clear to me is I'm become keenly aware of the importance of early childhood education for 3 main reasons. And this is not from research, this is just from my experience, and you all may agree or not. Your priority may be different in terms of how these are aligned. The first is, it's the second most important form of human development. The second most important form of human development. The first is parents. Parents is the first. Being early childhood providers and teachers, I think, is second in terms of importance. Secondly, it is a work support. Parents need high quality, affordable child care in order to work and take care of themselves and their families. And the only way that I could have become successful in my career is to have access to care for my children. And that goes from Miss Vera's Daycare to Jackson State Lottie Thorne Early Childhood Center to New Hope Christian School. And I'm very grateful for those organizations and grateful for all of you. Third is it's a business and economic driver. And most providers don't look at it that way. Your businesses and what you provide to your communities really ties into the top 5 of small businesses that drive and support the local economy. So you need to make sure that you're well aware of that. And I would also like for you all to know how much we appreciate the hard work that you put in on a daily basis, not only in supporting me and my children, but other people's children. Your work is important, and it does not go unnoticed or unappreciated. But at the same time, I want you to realize that, and to fully understand that with this adoration comes responsibility. I don't mean to place you under any undue pressure, but I want you to know and fully understand just how important your role is to society. Your craft, your expertise is developing human beings, and nothing could be more important than that. All education is human development at all levels, but the most important level is early childhood education. So now I want to share with you a little bit of background on the Kellogg Foundation and the role that we play in this process. I'll do that, share some statistics with you, and then give you some tips on things that you can use when you walk out this door today that will help you in your journey as an early childhood educator and serving parents and their children. So I never knew that giving away other people's money could be this hard. And I say that, and it's funny, but it is so true. I remember when we were doing some work up in the Delta in Greenville, I would actually come in and tell providers, if it were left up to me, I would cut every one of you all a check for all the great work that you do and all the lives that you change. But because I can't do that, I find myself in a translator role in wherever I go at whatever level, making sure that I try to maximize whatever funds are available, find out how that can be translated, and find out how I can get you money to better do your job. So please know that no matter where I am, that's the role that I have taken on. And I enjoy that role. It tires me out sometime, and I'm always on the road. I was telling Ms. Sewell when I came in, I drove in from New Orleans last night about 11 o'clock just to make sure that I could get here to be with you all today. And I'm leaving early to go to a series of baseball games with my son. But that's the level of commitment that I have in this work. And the Kellogg Foundation is very committed. Many of you all, some of you all know because you've been working with the Kellogg Foundation for a while. Those of you all who don't know, the foundation's funding comes directly from the sale of Kellogg products. The Kellogg Company, all the money that they make, so this is a plug for Kellogg products. My children know we don't buy any other cereal or snack if it's not a Kellogg snack, but that money goes into the trust, then out of the trust to the Kellogg Foundation. And I guess over the past 2 to 3 years, that money has been about $7 to $9 billion.
Wow.
That's how much money the trust has that then comes to the foundation. It's our job to help fund worthy programs and projects to help vulnerable children and their families. So all of our grant making supports thriving children, encouraging working families and equitable communities. We continuously learn from our investments and recognize that innovation is the catalyst for success. So we know there are some things we may try and fund that don't work. Those that do work, we try to carry on those successes. Embedded within all that we do is our commitment to racial equity, to developing leaders and engaging communities in solving their own problems. This is a part of our DNA, and we continue to work nationally and internationally throughout the United States and with sovereign tribes to do this. We concentrate up to 2/3 of our grant making in what we call priority places. So Michigan, Mississippi, New Orleans, and New Mexico in the U.S. And then we do work in Mexico, in Chiapas, in the Yucatan Peninsula, and then Central Haiti. We have made significant investments in Mississippi and will continue to do so for the next generation. So over probably the last 20 years, we've invested over $100 million in the state of Mississippi. Education is one of our main areas, and we're particularly targeting early childhood education, children ages 0 to 8, and education systems. And we have funded a number of organizations across the state and nation related to kindergarten readiness, teacher development, increasing access quality, as well as working to improve educational systems across the board. And because we focus on children in this age range, I want to just take a moment to do a shout out to those centers who have benefited in some way from the Kellogg Foundation's investments. If you are here, and I just want you to raise your hand, we can do a little shout. If you're here from Sunflower County, from Jackson, or Biloxi, please raise your hand. I know y'all, come on, y'all gotta get a little more excited about that. Good to see that. So raise your hand and do a little shout if you are affiliated with the SPARK program, and that's Supporting Partnerships to Assure Ready Kids. Past, present, future, if you were with SPARK. Now I got to do a little special shout out for Spark, because that was a program that I directed and really got me head over heels into early childhood some years ago while at Children's Defense Fund. I want you all to know that every early childhood program that you may be, and this is not a plug for me, it's a plug for all the work that has been done across the state on behalf of you all and children, is based on the SPARK model. When you think of the legislation that has been passed to provide additional money to early childhood education, the way the programs work, combining Head Start, working with child care providers, business leaders and community leaders, that is all based on the SPARK model. So raise your hand if you participated in Excel by 5. Allies for Quality Care. I know I saw some of our folks in the house with Allies. Mississippi Building Blocks. JSU Call Me Mr. Pre-K Collaborative and the MDE Division of Early Childhood Education. Quality Stars. Promise Schools. More Community House, a Mississippi Low Income Child Care Initiative. The Mississippi Center for Education and Innovation, Child Care Training Sessions, and last but certainly not least, Children's Defense Fund, Southern Regional Office. So thank you all. So we've touched on several different areas, either geographically or programmatically, and know that that is our charge for a decade, to continue to support early childhood education across the state of Mississippi. I don't know if some of you all can remember, but do you remember when there were no such programs in the state? And that was not too long ago, when the state referred to child care as daycare. And child care providers were not even recognized as teachers or small business owners. So when you think about it, over the past 15, 20 years, we have really come a long way. And we will be working to make sure that we help push you all and support you all even more as we seek to do more work to improve the lives of the children we serve. So I'll shift quickly, and I wanted to share with you all 13 key benefits of early childhood education, and this is from a teacher's perspective. And I thought it was very interesting. I did research and pull this information up and thought it would be something that would be beneficial to you. The first key benefit, she says, of early childhood education is socialization. Socialization with people other than a child's family in a safe environment is very essential to all the things that follow, the next 12. The concept of cooperation, learning how to share, cooperate, take turns, and persevere within a safe learning environment, guided by you, the teachers and directors who have children's best interests at heart. Encouraging holistic development. The approach taken to build a strong foundation for a child's emotional, social, physical, and mental development that will prepare them for a lifetime. Number 4 is enthusiasm for lifelong learning. And we have to model that. So we want the children to learn. You all being here today is a prime example of how that is being developed. Love of education for reading, learning, discovery, nature takes root in preschool. Number 5, convey the value of education through experience. Grasping the value of learning and education by setting an example and providing actual experiences, hands-on experiences to children. 6, the development of respect. Teaching the value of respect for others, and this is not limited to just people and belongings, but it should also mean respect for the environment, both immediate and global. Teamwork. This is a very, very important one. Demonstrating and instilling the importance of teamwork that can teach respect for the opinions of others, listening skills, as well as cooperation and equality. 8 is resilience. It is very important for childhood educators and parents to work together to develop resilient children. A lot of people refer to this as grit, and we know that you all work with that each and every day. 9, concentration. 10, patience. 12, confidence and self-esteem. This is critical. A strong sense of well-being provides children with confidence, optimism, and self-esteem, which will all encourage children to explore, take risks and chances, and develop their talents and skills. And the last one is 13, it's exposure to diversity. Valuing difference and diversity are crucial to a child's development and very important as they progress. So all of those really are the keys, and this teacher's perspective, I'm sure most of you all knew this is sort of a confirmation, but I think it's very important that we revisit those types of touch points just to make sure that we're on the same page. So there have been conversations at the state and national level about the importance of early childhood, and that's been going on for quite some time. But more and more studies indicating coming to light to reveal the ever-present learning disparity between students who have reaped the benefits of early childhood and those who have not. Needless to say, the topic has become more prevalent and more important now than ever before. Educators, politicians, and parents have become active participants in the discussions at the national, state, and local level. And then all of the research is showing that the investment in early childhood education, particularly amongst children who are disadvantaged, improves not only cognitive skills and abilities, but also critical behavioral traits like sociability, motivation, and self-esteem. So when we think about employers, there was a meeting of the Mississippi Economic Council held at the beginning of the year. And one of the key things that they talked about throughout the conference was the need for the development of soft skills. There are 40,000 jobs, 40,000 plus jobs available in the state of Mississippi, and these employers were basically talking about they could not find people to fill these positions. And many of them come to realize that while on the back end you can teach specific skills, but soft skills come from valued early childhood education experiences. And so there is a direct connect between what you all are doing on a daily basis and the economy of not only this state, but the nation as well. I want to make sure that you understand that fact. So now let's turn and talk about 5 ways that we can improve early childhood education. Many of you all may be familiar that when President Obama was in office, he put forth federal legislation, Congress put forth federal legislation that was called the Early Learning Initiative. And it proposed many different strategies on how to improve high-quality preschool and expand early Head Start and create partnerships to better serve infants and toddlers. And we're seeing the benefits of some of these programs. It's taken a while to get down to the state and local level, but he did his job at the federal level to move some of those dollars. And while in this capacity I can't talk a lot about it, but there are people among this group who can tell you everything you need to know about that. And we need each and every one of you all to become as involved and informed as you can, and then take action where needed to make sure that our children and your centers get what you all deserve to better serve them. Dollars are there. We just have to make sure that we take advantage of those dollars. So the first way to improve ECE, focus on the children's safety, health, and happiness. That's the first thing. Regardless of the setting, children's safety, health, and happiness are the main non-negotiable elements of quality care and education. So we have to work daily to minimize risk and maximize the children's opportunity to engage. The second item is support early care and education. Support the workforce. Make sure that you build your center with quality caregivers so that they will provide the best care and service to the families and the children that you are serving. Third, use observations and assessments to support every child's needs across all developmental domains. I recall doing work at the Center for Education Innovation, and we had a group of about 100 providers. And we were explaining to them and telling them at that point, it was probably about 6 or 7 years ago, what was coming before there was a requirement for them to use assessments. We said you might as well start now so that you're prepared. Not only will it help your business, it will help that child, it will help the family, and help when they get to school understand where that child is coming from and how they've progressed. So evaluation, self-evaluation, and self-assessment is very, very important. not only for the children, but for your center. Fourthly, we have to create a culture of continuous quality improvement. You all being here today, taking advantage of this conference, you have to continually work to improve your craft, not only to build your business, but to better serve the children and families that you come in contact with every day. And the fifth item is build partnerships to support quality. Now on this particular item, that doesn't mean just working with the people that you know. You're going to have to reach out and go beyond the normal, everyday, routine folks. If you know that your families are struggling with nutrition, you need to work to bring somebody in to talk to them about that. If whatever the issue might be, it's going to help you build your business. It's going to help the parents will trust you more if you provide things that you know that they need. So you have to continually work to do that. And I'm adding 2 things to this list. Vote, show up politically, and raise some sand when it comes to the children and families you serve. 2 or 3 people cannot do it alone. I'll give you an example. Olita, Pam, and myself used to go to the Capitol all the time. Over and over again, people would see us constantly talking about children. What we need to do for children, young children. I had one representative tell me probably in the 90s, what are y'all going to do, just take the children out of the crib and put them in a center, take them to school? Fast forward, we've come from that way of thinking to now having state funding for early childhood education, which is a wonderful thing. But one particular day, we walked up to the steps of the Capitol, and there were 3 or 4 representatives, maybe a few senators standing there. And they looked down and dropped their head. Here comes trouble. That's what you really want them to be saying about you. We all have a role to play. And 1 or 2 is not going to do it. They get tired of seeing the same people over and over again. And if you can't come, you can email, you can call, you can write a letter. If you see somebody at church who is any part of the system, at the local, state, or federal level, you need to pull them to the side and say, look, what are you all doing to help better serve children? And every voice counts. They want to hear from you. When they don't hear from you, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? So we need to show up better on behalf of the children that we serve. I'm going to close out now so you all can get back on schedule. I'm going to close out with a poem that I found that I thought was very, very fitting. And it's called The Hand Holders, a tribute to caregivers. And it doesn't even have an author, but I thought it was excellent for this occasion. There is no job more important than yours, no job anywhere else in the land. You are the keepers of the future. You hold the smallest of hands. Into your care you are trusted to nurture and care for the young. And for all of your everyday heroics, your talents and skills usually go unsung. You wipe tears from the eyes of the injured. You rock babies brand new in your arms. You encourage the shy and unsure child. You make sure they are safe from all harm. You foster the bonds of friendships, letting no child go away mad. You respect and you honor their emotions. You give hugs to each child when they're sad. You have more impact than does a professor. A child's mind is molded by force. So whatever you lay on the table is whatever the child will explore. Give each child the tools for adventure. Let them be artists and writers and more. Let them fly on the wind and dance on the stars and build castles of sand on the shore. It is true that you don't make much money and you don't get a whole lot of praise. But when one small child says, I love you, you're reminded of how this job pays. So with that, I want to thank you for having me. And please take that poem to heart and know that you're needed and you're loved. And keep up the great work. Thank you.